Hello, I hope you're enjoying the Rainbow Loom Expo at the Allstate Arena here today. In this video I will be showing you how to make the Skates action figure on your Rainbow Loom as taught to me by Alex and Mike Gordon. For this action figure we will be using the chocolate mix of assorted bands from Rainbow Loom. We will be using the red, gold, black, and white, and then not included in this mix we will be using gray and neon green for Skates' eyes. When making an action figure, it's really important that you have the arrow of your Rainbow Loom pointing at you. That way you can see the structure of the action figure as you are building it. So let's get started. First of all, it's really important that you're using 2 gray rubber bands for each time you're laying them down on the pin. Stop it. First things first, whenever we're going to be laying rubber bands down on the pins for an action figure, we are going to be using 2 instead of 1, just so that it makes it thicker and a little bit stronger when we pull the final product off of the loom at the end. So let's start with putting 2 gray rubber bands, starting on this first pin, and we're going to stretch it over to the side. That way we're not using this pin directly, we're going right up to the next one. Then we're going to take 2 more bands, bring them out to the other side, so now it makes a V. And then we're going to take 2 more bands and bring it forward. Notice with this one we're not skipping a pin, we're just going directly to the one in front of it. Now what we're going to do is take 2 more gray rubber bands, bring them forward on one side, 2 more and bring them forward in the middle, and then finally 2 more and bring them up the side. Like this. Now we're going to change gears a little bit and we're going to take 2 neon green bands, put them on the side, and then 2 more neon green bands and put them on the other side. These will be Skates' eyes. Now we're going to go back to our gray rubber bands and we're going to go in the middle here, place them here, 2 more gray rubber bands, place them here, 2 more on the other side, and 2 more again up the middle. Next what we're going to do is take 2 more gray rubber bands and we're going to go from this side into the center, like this. And then we're going to take 2 more and go from this side into the center here. And then finally we'll take 2 more and go from the middle. And now we have Skates' head on the loom. So these are his eyes here, this will be the top of his head, and then we have his chin, and his neck will extend down this way. For the neck, I like to change up the rules a little bit about using 2 rubber bands, and I like to add a 3rd rubber band just because it makes it even stronger because you're connecting the head and his body. So we'll take 3 gray rubber bands and we're going to place them from the end here, one forward. Next we're going to move on to his jersey. As you can see is white, red, and gold. So we're going to start by taking 2 white rubber bands and we're going to extend them out this way. These are going to be his shoulders. Going to lay another pair of white bands, one forward. Another pair of white bands going outward like this. Next we're going to have 2 white bands going forward, 2 white bands going forward, and then 2 more white bands going forward. We're going to do 1 more row of white bands. And then we're going to switch to another color. You're going to take 2 gold rubber bands and just bring them down. 2 more. And 2 more. If your bands get twisted on the pins here, don't worry about it, it'll still turn out fine. Now we're going to switch from gold to our red. Bring them forward. Bring them forward. Bring them forward. And now we're going to begin working on his pants. For the pants, you are only going to be using the 2 outside bars. So 2 black rubber bands going forward, and then 2 black rubber bands going forward on the other side. Then we need 2 more black bands. On both sides. Alright, so now we have Skate's head up here, his jersey, and then the beginnings of his legs on both sides of the loom there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the loom aside, and I'm going to show you how we make his legs. As you can see, they're a combination of black, white, gold, and gray. To start, we're going to take our hook and 1 gray rubber band, and we are going to wrap the gray band around the hook 3 times. This way it coils nicely and it's wrapped around 3 times. Now we're going to take 2 gray rubber bands, and we are just going to place them inside the hook like this and keep them on our finger, and we are just going to pull the coiled gray band off of the hook and onto the 2 gray bands. Then we will place the gray bands on the hook, and they will just hang on there like this. Next, we're going to take 2 more gray bands, place them inside the hook as we just did, and then we're going to pull these gray bands off of the hook and onto the new gray bands. Again, place them on the hook and let them hang onto here. We'll now change to gold, where we'll take 2 gold rubber bands, place them inside the hook, pull them through, and then close it off. We'll switch to white, place them inside the hook, pull them through, and close it off. And then 1 more pair of white, place them inside the hook, pull them through, and close it off. So this is one of Skate's complete legs. We're going to bring the loom back in, and what we'll do here is we're just going to take all of these white bands that are on the hook, and we are going to place them on this last pin, like this. So now this is 1 leg that attaches to the black bands here. Now we're going to have to make his second leg. So again, we're going to take 1 gray rubber band and wrap it around the hook 3 times so that it coils. Now we'll grab 2 gray rubber bands, place them inside the hook, and pull it through, and then close it off by putting the gray bands on the hook. Now we're going to grab 2 more gray rubber bands, place them in the hook, pull them through, and then close it off. We'll switch to gold, place them in the hook, pull them through, and then close it off. Our next color is white, where we'll place them in the hook, pull them through, close it off, and then finally another pair of white in the hook, pull it through, and close it off. Now we'll bring our loom back in. We're going to take these 4 rubber bands, and we're going to place the legs onto here. So now we have his legs, his pants, his jersey, and then his head. Next will be his arms, which are going to be going here and here. Remember I said that his jersey leads to his shoulders, and his arms will hang off this way. So again, I'm going to move the loom out of the picture. We're going to start with a gray rubber band, wrap it around the hook 3 times, so it coils like this. Then we're going to grab 2 gray rubber bands, place them inside the hook, pull it through. This is going to be Skate's hand. The next color is going to be red. So we take 2 red bands, place them inside the hook, and pull it through. The next color is the gold. Place them inside the hook, pull them through. Then we go back to red, place them inside the hook, pull them through, and then we have a pair of white rubber bands placed inside the hook and pull them through. So this is one of Skate's arms here. It's gray, red, gold, red, and white again. Bringing the loom back in, like I said, we're going to be placing them on the shoulders here. So we're going to take these 4 bands and place them right there. Just let them sit on top, and then just kind of pull this out of the way so that it hangs off the side here. So now we have his legs, one of his arms. To make the second arm, we're going to do the same step. Take the hook and then 1 gray rubber band, wrap it around 3 times so that it's coiled on here. Take 2 gray rubber bands, place them inside the hook, pull it through, then place the remaining gray bands onto the hook. Now we'll go to red. Take 2 of those bands, place them inside the hook, pull it through. Take 2 gold bands, place that inside the hook, pull it through. 2 more red bands, place them inside the hook, pull it through, and then 2 more white bands. Place them inside the hook as well, and we'll pull them through. When you do this, your bands will get twisted a little bit. That's okay, they're gonna be fine. So we have a second arm completed now. Bringing the loom back in, we're just gonna place this directly across from his first arm, like so. It also helps to kind of push the rubber bands down on the pins, that way we can have the room that we need in order to place all these bands on top. Next, what he needs are his ears, and those are going to go directly on the pins above the eyes. And we'll start off making those similar to the way we did the hands and the beginning of the legs. So we'll take 1 gray rubber band, we're going to wrap it around the pin 3 times, and then we're going to take 1 black rubber band and 1 gray rubber band, and then we're going to place them inside the hook and pull them through like this. And this is one of his ears. So we're going to bring the loom back in, and we're going to go above the eye, put it right onto here, and just kind of tug on it to make sure that it's all on there. And then we're going to make this second ear. So again, take 1 gray rubber band, wrap it around the hook 3 times, and then take 1 gray rubber band and 1 black rubber band, place it on the hook, and pull it through. Sometimes these bands get stuck, but you just gotta pull them off of there and get them through like that. So here's his second ear. And then we're going to place it directly across from his first ear on the loom, just by placing all of those bands right on there. Okay, now there's just one more step of rubber bands before we can start hooking Skates together. So we'll go over it one more time. We have his head with his ears. These green bands here will be his eyes, goes down to his chin. we have his neck. Then we go into his jersey, where his arms are, and then it extends down to here, and then we begin his pants with his legs. So now what we're going to do, we're going to take one black rubber band, and we are going to twist it in our fingers like this so that it becomes a double layered band. Then we're going to stretch it over 3 pins so that it's in the shape of a triangle, just like this. Now we're going to take a red rubber band and we're going to do the same thing, stretch it, put it on your fingers so that it becomes a double layered band, and then place it over 3 pins so that it's in the shape of a triangle. Sometimes the bands get so tight it's a little difficult. You can use your hook and just pull it on over. Now we're going to take a gold band, and we're not going to twist this one, we're just going to lay it over like this. And now we're going to switch to white and lay it over like this. Another white band, place it over these 3 pins like this. One more white band, which will sit right here. Now we're going to move to gray bands, in which we are going to go back to that earlier technique of twisting the band so that it's double layered. And we're going to stretch it across these 3 pins, taking another gray rubber band to do the same thing, stretching it over these 3, another one, stretch it over these 3, and then one final gray rubber band, twist it over, and then placed over these 3. So there you have it. Skates is now finished on the loom here. We have his head, jersey, and pants. And now we'll begin the hooking process. So what you'll want to do here, you're going to start by holding your hook with like a pencil, with the hook part pointing away from you. When you are hooking all these bands on the loom, they will be fairly tight. You are going to want to be very careful with your hook so that it doesn't snap or bend or break. So to start, we're going to go down to his pants, and we're just going to kind of stretch his leg out a little bit, and we're going to go in here and grab the black rubber bands, unhook them from the pin, and then bring them one forward, just like this. And now we're going to go inside this pin here. We're going to go down and grab the 2 black bands from the bottom, pull them up and around, and bring them forward one. We want to make sure that the band is being pulled through these triangles here, as opposed to up and around them. That way the triangle is being left back here, where it's not being pulled forward. So we're going to keep going forward with this row, grabbing both bands that are at the bottom, bringing them forward. And this is another time where it's important that you have your rubber bands pushed down low on the pins. That way you can fit all of them. And as you can see, the red one here kind of slipped off my pins. You don't have to worry about that. As long as it stays on there, you'll be okay. Now you're going to go into here, bring it forward again. Alright, and we're going to stop right there. Now you're going to go to the middle row, beginning with the red rubber band. You're just going to bring it forward. Gold. White. And then we're just going to go up to the top, like that. So now we've hooked 2 rows. and we're going to go back down to his other leg. So again, we're going to start by pulling his leg out a little bit, grabbing the black, bringing him forward, then we're going to go back inside of here, grab the black bands, bring them forward, go down in here, grab the red bands, bringing them forward, and then we'll stop up at his arm here. So now we've hooked this row forward, this middle row forward, and then this end row forward. We've stopped at his arms on both sides here. What you'll want to do here is the same trick we did down here. You're going to pull the arm out of the way a little bit, and then you're just going to go all the way down to the bottom with your hook. Grab the two white bands that are at the bottom, pull them forward, just like that. We'll do the same on the other side. There we go. So now his pants and jersey are now completely hooked. So now you'll want to push the jersey down a little bit because we're going to be going into here, grabbing all of these gray rubber bands. Now this is a part where you really want to watch your hook because these gray bands are really tight in there. You want to make sure that your hook doesn't break. Now we place it on the pin forward there. Next, what you're going to do is go inside here and we're going to grab the top two gray rubber bands, bringing them forward. Then we're going to go down in here again, grabbing the next top two, bringing them outward, and then go back and grab the final top two and bring them outward again. Next you're going to go into here, grab the top two gray rubber bands, and hook them around this pin. You're going to go down here, grab the two neon green bands for his eye, bring them around like this, and then go up one more with these gray bands and place them over his ear like that. Now we're going to go into the middle row, bring these forward, and then we're going to go to this final row over here. We're going to go in here, grab the two neon greens for his other eye. I'm going to go in here. And now we're going to go in both sides here, and we're going to go all the way down. I like to grab his ear and just kind of pull it out of the way. We're going to go all the way down and grab the two gray rubber bands from the bottom, unhook them, and then stretch them all the way up to the top. And this is another place where you want to watch your hook so that it doesn't snap. So again, kind of pull the ear out of the way, unhook these, and bring them all the way up to the top. So now Skates is completely hooked. We have his head up here, his jersey, and his legs. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take one gray rubber band, we're going to place our hook inside the loom, the top pin there, so that it's underneath all the gray rubber bands. We're going to place this gray band inside the hook, and we're going to pull it up through the center, like this. We're going to place that gray rubber band on the hook, and just double check here that this gray rubber band is underneath all the other gray bands. We're just going to pull this back on the hook, and now we're going to pull it off. Now it's going to be a little bit difficult getting this first one off of here because there's so many bands, but you just got to wiggle it off. You can even just use your fingers at each pin if that's easier for you. The neck especially will be a difficult one too, as well as the arms. Alright, now what you can do is pull his ears out a little bit so that they stick out a little bit more. Straighten out his face, his jersey, and then his legs. You can move his arms down. Now what you'll do is put a C-clip on the top here, or what you can do is pull the rubber band through itself and then pull tight, so that it makes a slip knot on there. This way you can hang it off of a backpack or anything you'd really like. And again, just adjust his body a little bit, and then there you have a Skates action figure.